everybody, Geraldine Rose here. Oh, today we've got a mixed media card with a bunch of kitchen sink craftery going on. Stick around, we'll show you how to do it. This card was for both the 30 Days of Crafting and the altenew Tuesday Live challenges. That particular challenge was to have a watercolor and do a galaxy kind of effect, basically splattering it, whatever else you wanted, and to use die cuts with it. I already had a watercolored panel, so I had started out with that. Sorry, it wasn't filmed. I did come in with the All in Create Lots of Dots stencil, and I've been applying solar paste and the clear crackle paste over top of it. I pretty much almost always do that in a haphazard method. I think I've only done maybe one card where I actually did it like very traditional, here's a stencil. Speaking of which, hashtag stencil reveal. The background painted panel was on Canson XL watercolor paper. I knew it was quite thick, and I wanted to rough the edges up because we're doing mixed media and I hadn't done that for a while. I don't have one of the distress edgers, so I grabbed out some of my finer tipped scissors and just kind of went to town on it. The other thing you do with mixed media is you get out old sewing machines. I've had this thing since, oh gosh, early 1990s. I went backwards and forwards. I changed the stitch length. I changed the stitch width. I changed the stitch type and chopped her off at the end. I pulled the threads through. I'm gluing them down so that they will not unravel further than what they are. If you're looking at all those layers and going, oh my goodness, how many is that? 5, 6, 7? How am I going to put that together? Luckily, altenew has got not only the layering guide that you can see on the back of the package you can refer to, they got this keyhole system. I'm setting them out there. One has actually got the keyhole and the other one's got the arrow. For each different flower, they have a different shape. Because the background is so colorful, I wanted to do a reverse twist on it. I didn't want to overwhelm it with too much color, and I put the Epiphyllium die cuts, the petals, in different shades of white. To bring it more design unity in, I repeated the solar paste on the edge of the flowers. I'm setting it up with the keyhole system, getting that into place. Now, these are the bottom layers. I still have to die cut out the pistils and the stamens. I'm using my reverse tweezers to hold it together. Going on to the next flower, I'm going to set that in place as well too. When I was die cutting the petals, I made certain to have each layer a different tone or brightness of white so that it as well would have interest within the flowers. Now that we've got the elements of the card a little bit more put together, it's time to decide what color of gold that we want those pistils and stamens to be. For me, I don't know if it's really a conscious decision. It's more listening to my intuition in order to make my pick. Oh, and before I glued down some of the petal layers, I curled them up each a little bit to bring in a little bit more lifelikeness for those flowers. Fun fact, the Epiphyllium or orchid cactus, it's a relative of Schlumberger, which are the Christmas cactus. Zyocactuses are the Easter cactuses. This one, though, it's so close to Christmas cactus. If you did that in shades of fuchsia, I don't think you'd be able to tell the difference on a card. Okay, back to our project. Around the outside of the panel, I am brushing on darker shades of red and of yellows. That'll frame it up a little bit more and set it apart from the card base behind. Although I suppose you could cut out some really thin gold frames and use those instead. Now, the ink blending around the edges had covered up some of the roughing up that I had done earlier on that panel to give it that distressed mixed media look. So I redid it. We're just finishing off the last little components of the flowers. I believe I came in with some stickles afterwards too to add a little bit of gold sparkle onto those so that it would augment the gold metallic that was going on through the rest of the card. This is where I'm starting to work on the sentiment. It was from the Pocket Sentiment set. The first time I was trying it on some leftover cardstock that I had that had been painted. I had out the black fine and I had out the sparkle black Ranger embossing powders. Putting them down here separately so that I don't contaminate them. I use the sparkle last because if you use the sparkle last, you don't have to worry about black getting into it, but the other way around, that you don't want the sparkle mixing in with just the fine black. Heat embossing it, die cutting it out, and once I got it die cut out, I didn't like it because it just didn't stand out enough from the card, so I'm redoing it all again on top of white. I've heard from a few other crafty friends in the live chats, like for Amy Rasavi's or Kathy Zilski's live chats, and we'll get going on the fact that quite often our cards go in a different direction from what we started out in. That some of us are really good at laying out a plan and sticking to it, and then the rest of us, it just goes off in a direction of its own. And chances are, if you're watching my kitchen sink craftery here, that you're probably like me, and it probably just goes in all sorts of directions and there's no reining them in. But let me know if you are actually able to control it down in the comments below. I will definitely be giving you a brava hands clap in the comments back, because hats off to you. Kudos. Yay. The second time around with this sentiment on the white, it seemed a little bit easier to die cut it out first and then position the stamp exactly where I needed it to. I don't know if I would do that again, because sometimes this stamp, it gets really close to those edges where the die cut will make that impression around the outside and it doesn't fully take it. I got lucky this time because of the sparkle. So I've cut out 2 more for the back of it. I'm stacking it up so that we get a little bit of dimension there. Setting the block on. We're on to the inside of the card where we're using the lovely Rose Peony stamps, the sentiments there, with a slight ombre. The back of the card, one of the custom stamps that I got from Scrap and Stamp, that's going on. Back to the inside of the card, Crafty Friends stamps. Just highlighting it with a couple of the little flowers that I thought would go really well with the way the petals stuck out. So different tones with the reds and the yellows and the oranges. Back to the front. And here we're putting on the flowers in the spots that we wanted. The bottom flower, I wanted it to stand out a little bit more, so it looked like it was more in the forefront and closer to you. That's why I've got some foam that I've custom cut and put on the back. Putting the glue on top of the foam is going to accomplish 2 purposes. Number 1, it's going to give a little bit of wiggle room so that you can get it into the spot that you want. And number 2, because of the paste that is on that panel, it's going to give an extra little bit of adhesion. Of course, we have to figure out exactly the perfect spot for this sentiment. With the enamel dots, I am taking some of the alcohol markers. I am dabbing them a little bit so that they have little spots all over them, which I thought would go really well with the background that's going on there. We're putting them into place. And then I thought, well, you know, it's got the gold in here and it's got some of the shimmer from the solar paste. So I got out some Pink Fresh Studio ombre drops. I'm tucking a few of those in there as well too. So there you be with the finished card. This one has been sent off to another of our Canadian crafters. Some happy mail for her. She is about a 5 or 6 hour drive from me. Anyway, all the rest of you, you do the same. Send some happy energy out there. Be that change you want to see in the world. And we'll catch you all next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.